So what I wanted to talk about today, and what we had proposed, is to talk about effectively sales. Anybody here need to drive sales? Anybody here not need to drive sales? Right? Everybody's got to do that thing. And we talk about why they want to do it, but it's demonstrating progress. In some cases, it's actually to feed your family, right? You're bootstrapping, and when you're particularly in a startup mode. I've been there a number of times, and you've got to find a way to cover those costs. And step one is getting to those sales elements. And so what we thought we'd do today is take you through a few things related to the sales topic that you may or may not have thought of. And if you have, maybe I'll give you a little bit more clarity into some things that you can do. I don't think anyone's quite up to the IPO yet. Anybody got visions of getting to an IPO? Of course. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of reason people are into this kind of thing is you're positive. You've got this element of vision, right? You're starting with whatever it is you're starting with. It doesn't have to be big, but you're in your mind, you're thinking, what's that end point? Come on, who here hasn't thought of that? Really? Nobody's thinking? Come on, everybody's thinking that's where you want to go. Of course it is. There's a bunch of things though you got to do to get there. And so sales is one of those elements that kind of runs towards it. So what I wanted to talk about today was, I've written it over here, is developing what I call a champions network. And at the end of it, you're going to go, this is so logical. Like, why did I come here to learn this? What I want you to do is put it in perspective. Because there's a lot of the stuff that we talk about in marketing. By the way, marketing is all common sense, right? Literally common sense. The challenge is you need to assemble it in a common sense way, which you may or may not have experience doing. Secondly, I want to talk about defining your target market. Hello, G. Because one of the things we're going to look at when I talk to a lot of small companies that want to sell, they certainly do want to sell. The challenge is they don't know who they want to sell to. And if you don't have that kind of thought through, you're going to spend a lot of time selling to the wrong people, wasting a lot of time, a lot of energy. And I want to talk about metrics. And so, okay, you've decided what you're going to do, who you're going to do it with. How do you keep track of that kind of thing? You may think you're too early in the stage for that. You're really not. And so I'll take you through that. That's what I put to talk. Is there anything anybody else wants to talk about? So you came here today. Have you got a burning question, something that we can cover? Because I'm happy to take us offline if that's where we want to go. Anything else come to mind for anybody?
Expansion.
Expansion?
Yeah. Let's say, so right now we are targeting only the Canadian market. If you want to go to the US market,
Okay.
how would you? That's a different beast altogether.
It's a different beast. Well, let's mark it down. There's no reason we can't talk about it. Anything else out there? Anybody, anything else anyone wants to chat about? Don't be shy. As we go through the session, be happy to take these things offline. Yeah.
So kind of like the activities that would lead up to market knowledge, so like during like the pre-sales process, we're kind of like a step outside of sales strategy. If we're looking at, we're kind of in like a pre-phase of that, so kind of figuring out kind of market insights that would help that drive that strategy.
So you're talking about before you get out to sell? Pre-selling?
Yes.
In fact, are you talking about the strategy you need to figure out before you try and sell?
Yes.
Oh. Perfect. So pre-selling activity. Actually, I'm going to talk a lot about that. Because one of the challenges we run into with sales is you really can't sell until you know what you're selling, or what you're selling, who you're selling to. And I think you'll find that a lot of people kind of get ahead of their blocking. I'll tell you who this guy is, you know this kind of. So they call me Big Coach Pete for a particular reason. Big, my name is Pete, and the last name is Sprinkles. Nobody can remember that kind of thing. So you just go with Big Coach Pete. I've got a pretty long background here. I have a BA in economics and an MBA from Rotman. And the thing I'll tell you how old I am, because I said I've been doing this about 35 years, is my son, it's my daughter running the camera there, but my son just last week got accepted into the same school I graduated from in 1985. So I'm old. I prefer to think about it as, you know, the gray hair actually adds value into the process, but we'll see if that's true or not. So key questions. So can everybody answer these questions? You know, what are you selling? You know the what you're selling? Right? I'm selling a product, I'm selling a service, I'm selling whatever. You know who you're selling it to? Can you tell me why they need it? Not want it, why they need it. What other options exist for them to buy that? Is it, have you got competitors? Is the competitor, they will do nothing? They'll do it themselves? How are you positioned against those competitors? So if you've got a product to come out, the first question is, you have a great product, you may have a great product, as you've got a competitor either standing beside you, shooting it out with you now, or is there somebody 10 feet behind you ready to come out? Or have you got the market to yourself? And in terms of, when we talk about going for that IPO, if you want to go for that IPO, the funders, the folks that you're going to depend on to get money, are going to want you to be player number 1 or number 2. Have you got the capability to be player number 1 or number 2 in the market? And if so, terrific, let's keep running. If not, let's figure out how you can be number 1 or number 2. So what I don't want anyone to take out of this is that I'm trying to talk you out of doing something. Far from it. I'm trying to get you to work the strategic marketing on the front end of it to make your life easier down the road. So when you're talking about what you need to do up front, this is the stuff you need to understand. So I hear from I need to go out and sell. I need to increase my sales team. I need to drive sales. Absolutely right. But you have to know these questions, all of the questions. The big one that we talk about is, do you know why you're doing what you're doing? Period.
But you know, when you're starting something, the first 4 questions I look at are the basis of starting something
Yeah.
before you get to the 5th and the 6th one.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you get down here, this is somewhat iterative in my opinion, because if you come up with a product, and let's say I'm selling a widget, really doesn't matter what it is. I know who I'm selling it to, I know why they need it, and I know what other options they have that exist. Right away, you got to understand is, yeah, but how sustainable is this? Right? A sustainable competitive advantage. Right? It's great if you're going to compete. Right? Take 2 football players. Right? The same son that plays football for the Varsity Blues. He just got drafted by Saskatchewan. But now for him, he's a right tackle. He's got to compete now with all those other right tackles and linemen in the entire league, and everybody can be pulled up. Right? So it's great, he got where he wanted to go, but now he's got to compete with these elements. You're going to be in the same boat. Your product runs exactly the same way. And so you need to think ahead what it is that's going to make you guys unique when you talk about your particular product. But the question of why I find fascinating. There's a fellow, anyone seen the Simon Sinek video? I think this is just a piece of brilliance. When you talk about the product, there's really 3 elements to the circle. And this is the what, this is the how, and this is the why. And most people, when they're going to market something, start with the what. I have a product. The companies that are really powerful start with the why. Now, I'll give you an example, and I always love this one. The what is, I make computers. Okay, let's start with that. So I sell a computer. Well, if I'm a computer, so I sell a computer, and it is the best computer because it has the most memory, it's got great customer service to the thing, it's got a brand, you can buy it on the Home Shopping Network. You have some element of the what it is, the computer, and the how, the why it's better. The smart companies start the other way around. Think about Apple. How did Apple start? Right? They started with the why. They said, we're going to come and we're going to change the face of computing. You're buying IBM computers today. Everybody's buying IBM computers. We're going to change the scope. We've got a mission to do things differently. Come join us. Oh, by the way, you can buy a computer from us, and here's what's great. You start with the mission, and you get the emotional attitude of the customer first, and then you can run back and worry about how it gets done. So just something for you to think about. If you can figure out the why, and you figure out your own why, because the why is why you're going to get up in the morning. It's that passion. I suspect everybody in here, if you started your own company, you've got passion for something, right? Everybody. Who doesn't? If people got passion, everybody's got passion, right? You're doing this because you want to do something. So it's important that you understand how you can package that and get your customers to be excited about it as well. So anyway, it's a great video. It's Simon Sinek, I think, is the fellow who did it. I really like that particular work with it.